What is going on, everybody? A nice humid day in Fort Lauderdale once again. Probably again around the 90s with the humidity, but we are outside for our walk today at the park, and we are going to talk about Gate 20, which is presence, which is all about being in the now and all about contemplation. So in astrology, this is Gemini. In tarot, this is the Page of Pentacles. And in the I Ching, this is contemplation. And this energy for this week is for me all about being genuine, being authentic, and being in the now, being in the present, working on our presence. And in the chakra system, this is located in the throat, and it is reaching towards the spleen, the sacral, and the G center. So that means it is about to rain and storm in the park. So we'll see how far we get. All right. So the energy, as I mentioned, is all about being authentic. And the way we activate the energy of being present or the energy of contemplation is emphasizing our attention and in the now, or our attention to details in the now, and really contemplating how we can turn our attention inward to be more present in the now. And we're all distracted by mainly our cell phones, computers, but distractions can also be things like our family, or even sometimes ourselves. We look to distract ourselves instead of sitting in the now, sitting in the moment, and being present in sitting in those feelings in the moment without trying to escape them or look for some other form of entertainment. And so to maintain in this energy, we are looking at how can we communicate inwardly with ourselves and nurture that presence to the current moment. And when we have this gate with us, or the sun energy, it's encouraging us to take a moment and contemplate and think before we start taking actions to embody more presence in the world and to be aware of our thought patterns, our feelings, and the different actions we're taking, and the insights that we gain from going in from that contemplation and using that wisdom to be more compassionate and to take action in the future, but not now. Right now, we're sitting in the present. So this week, or going into this week, I'm definitely taking a break, and I think I'm going to talk about this a little bit about feeling rushed. I've been feeling rushed on a few things when in reality, there's no need. I have nowhere to be. This is the least I'm rushing in my life, but I can still feel the pressure to want to go and take action. And this week I will definitely be doing some contemplating on a couple different avenues for myself. I think last week I mentioned some different projects I may be working on. So still contemplating, figuring out what's the best way forward, but not feeling like I absolutely have to make a decision on this like right now. And I'm also working on, not having any resentments or stressing on anything that's happened in the past, whether it's businesses not working out, things, situations, agreements not working out, looking at them as bad or good, and more so just taking the lessons from those things and not letting these expectations or getting expectations and letting that drive me in directions I don't want to go in. And you can think of this energy this week as being the wise king or the wise queen looking over your kingdom or queendom, surveying, seeing what's coming on the horizon, taking a moment, taking a second to see what's coming and see what's going before taking action. Or you can envision yourself standing in a tower in the middle of a city. Typically, when you go to a big city, they have a space needle or some tall building where you can go to the top and you get a perspective. So think about this week as going to the top of that building, that tower, and taking a look at the action that's going on around you and gaining wisdom from sitting and waiting and being patient. And so this week, we're going to be meditating on and reflecting on our ability to cultivate our presence in the now and going inward versus getting caught up in worldly distractions. And also meditate on whether we are in the right moment and are we waiting on the right opportunities, letting our inner wisdom and our intuition take us there without external validation. I want to say last week, some of these projects I was telling some of my friends about, they were very like, oh yeah, this is yours, you got it. And they had their energy, but for me, it was kind of like, is this, do I really want it? Like, yes, if I say it's mine, it's mine. I believe that. But is this truly the direction I want to go in? Last week was about, looking at how or if it is the time to take those actions. And thinking through it last week, it wasn't. And so now this week it's more thinking about it, but more going internal. Last week was a lot of external validation about the situation. So this week, after it's been validated externally, it's about me going inwardly to contemplate more on it. And we also want to consider how we can embrace each moment as it unfolds versus taking a look too far in the future and getting our hopes up, getting our feelings upset because we've anticipated something happening, but it didn't quite work out that way. And making sure we don't have any regrets, right? Having those regrets is really what's going to keep us from doing those contemplations or wanting to go back and look inwardly. If we look at our mistakes and think of them as quote unquote bad things, mistakes are just part of life. Regrets. I try not to have regrets because then that means I'm not being truly honest with myself. In the moment when I do something, is never malicious or have that type of intent, and so that really eliminates the reason to have any anxieties or being stressed out or having any regrets in that sense. From a human design aspect, this is located in the throat chakra, so it's going to influence our presence and how our authenticity is communicated, and it's also part of the integration circuit, which emphasizes self-empowerment and authentic communication. I have a couple channels, or I have a couple gates in that channel, which hits 4 different gates. And so during this week, I definitely will have a lot to contemplate about, as I'm going to have I guess technically 2 new channels activated with gate 20 coming on this week. And so those 4 gates in the integration circuit are 34, 57, 10, and 20. I have 34 and 10. And so, connecting with 20, I'm going to be looking at one from gate 34. How can I use my power to go inward and speak my truth or my inner truth and contemplate, and also, contemplating on my identity, who I am. I feel like I've kind of been doing for weeks now, but continuing that and more so going inwardly this week. I do feel like last week it was a bit noisy. And so the last couple of days, I've definitely taken some time to make sure I go and meditate and go internally, because it's been feeling very noisy, or lots of what I was calling like sparks in the air, things going on. And I just really needed to retreat and go meditate. So glad this is happening this week because that energy is already with me. And this gate, it actually has strategies or carries energies of projected, generated, and manifested. If you look at a human design chart, there's 4 gates on this channel, and depending on how it's connected for you or not connected, it's going to have a different effect on how you feel this energy this week. And it also requires recognition and timing to effectively share insights and wisdom. So again, not rushing. Right, this week for me was rushing. I've pretty much settled on doing this style of video, talking about human design. These things that are there's a lot of ease in talking about it and learning about myself, learning about the different energies as the transits pass. And I had to drop, I say had to drop, but I still had a number of things I wanted to incorporate and I've kind of decided that at this point they just need to be on hold, and I just want to focus on literally two things. So this week I'm going to be definitely going internally to make sure I'm okay with that, and I really had a chance to recognize that timing is really what it's all about. Waiting on divine timing, and really, I would call it being lazy, or maybe divine laziness, in surrendering to the fact that I need the time to explore myself, and this week is giving us the energy to wait, to sit still, like I'm telling my son all the time, and encourage that divine laziness, go internal, not feeling like we have to do something this week. And once we do go that internal, we will actually get the answers we're looking for. So I want to talk about the shadow and how we can become enlightened. So in shadow, there is a tendency to rush or make fear-based assumptions. We speak from a pressure, and a lot of it has to do with external validation, or feeling pressured to speak from a place of external validation. And that really leads us to be inauthentic, and people not really hearing what we have to say. And then, in shadow, we also struggle with other people's perceptions and other people's pressures to be who they think we should be. And so to get out of this, to transmute, we need to move from making decisions out of fear and moving towards embracing our inner wisdom, our inner knowing, and then vocalizing that inner wisdom. And we also need to work on avoiding distractions, comparisons, and focusing on discovering our inner self. Yeah, distractions for sure this week. Oh my gosh. I feel like even things I thought I was focused on and needed to be done, turns out they were actually distractions. So even whittling down my backlog of things that have to be done now, or I feel like I need to do, it's that energy has started with today, me sitting and doing some of the things that we're talking about in this video. And yeah, it actually has brought a greater level of peace versus the end of last week, when I felt like I didn't have the time to do some of the things I wanted to accomplish. When in the reality is, I don't really want to do those things, and nor do I have the time. So they just need to leave. And we also want to work on strengthening and deepening our trust in our inner knowing, and surrendering to the flow of life. Although we may not like it, I'm definitely surrendering to where I'm at as far as my goals, and even to the fact that I haven't really defined goals per se as I've done in the past. So that was another realization. It's like, I want to go somewhere, I want to make some type of impact, but I really don't know what is that impact I want to do. I do know I like making videos, talking about human design, learning about it. And so I'm just going to do that for now and not worry about everything and anything else that I could worry about regarding business, my life, things around making money specifically. I think a lot of my impatience is I want to, is I've been, let's call it pressure society, is to make money. And it's like, I'm good right now, but everything is taken care of. So where is this pressure? Why do I have this pressure? And I really don't know the exact direction I'm going in. So what's the rush? So, this week I'm also going to celebrate, trusting in my body, trusting in my responses, and the way I see myself coming or becoming enlightened this week on my presence even more is, learning to read the moment more, looking at where I'm at, not being so much in my head, going back to my sacral based on my strategy, and being more inwardly guided versus listening and taking on external influences. So to activate this, we're going to meditate this week and self-reflect to connect on our inner wisdom, our inner self, And we're going to embrace activities that promote contemplation. I'm back on my yoga game. Definitely had a nice stretch today and last night as well. So getting back on that. And as always, taking walks helps us cultivate pretty much everything. But in this case, being present, listening to the trees right now. On my walks, I tend to not listen to music. I tend to like listen to the sound, listen to the trees, listen to the cars, and be present. And we also are going to engage in creative activities and contemplative practices to help us activate this energy this week and take some time to align our desires, our actions, and our mindset. Right? I got the actions, I have the mindset. I just need to align the desires and take away some of the actions because, like I said, there were too many actions still, even after distilling our thoughts a few weeks ago. There were still some actions that needed to be taken off the table. And so now that we are at a place, I think I'm at a place where I'm ready to like sit down with a few things I do have on my plate and really figure out what those things are going to look like. So outline my desires really, and where the actions are going to take me. And so once we have activated this energy, we're going to have a confidence about ourselves, trusting our body, trusting our instincts, and we're going to have a deeper communication with ourself and others. And we'll also improve our ability to hold space for others and have more of a conscious awareness of others' feelings and their need for presence as well. And we'll know how to be and stay in the now, stay in the right timing, waiting on divine timing and waiting on the right time to be recognized. And we're waiting, but we're preparing while we're waiting. So we're not just doing nothing, but yes, doing nothing is actually doing something. If that makes any sense, right? So yeah, we'll be doing this week. Other things that we may want to think about doing to help out with this is other body awareness practices. I mentioned yoga, martial arts as well, to go inward, to become more connected with ourselves, and talk more about our authenticity, talk more about our presence, and be engaged with communities where that is highlighted, and you can learn more about yourself. If that interests you, I have a free community beta that will be dropping sometime in the future. The link is in the description below. All right, so we talked about gate 20, which is all about embracing and embodying the now with authenticity and effective communication. It's also about listening to our intuition when we communicate, and it encourages us to contemplate, and that allows for genuine interactions between ourselves, but also with others. And once we foster that trust, that knowing of our instincts in our body, then we can greater navigate this crazy world that we're in with clarity and wisdom. And so, yeah, this week is going to be a lot of contemplating. I usually, when I meditate, I have a list of things I put next to the altar where I meditate. So I'm going to be squeaking out or erasing a bunch of things and whittling it down to even smaller list of items and just really contemplate and sit with those items and see where it takes us. And not rush, not feeling any pressure, or I feel the pressure, but that doesn't mean I have to give into it, right? With this energy or with every energy that we feel every week, it is on us to embrace it and go with it, or to reject it if it's not here for us that week. And most importantly, it's about following our design. So if this resonates with your design, and if you are a generator like me, it may be very beneficial to not take action because you have all this energy that you're looking to put out, or it may be beneficial for you to take action if it aligns with where you're at right now. So you take what you want and you can put down the rest. All right, everybody, that is it for this week. If you are interested in a Soul Successful Blueprint Human Design reading, I have my schedule link in the description below. And as always, have a good day.